Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello and welcome to yet another episode of Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and on today's show, we will be breaking down the week's hot topics with my friend and yours, Brody Stewart. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride. More to come in a mere moment. You can interact with us during the show in the chat room, which you will find at the bottom of the page, or you can call us with your questions on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or you can tweet us. My Twitter handle is at XanderGibb, XANDRGIBB. Tweet me if you're too shy, and I will ask your question or put your point across for you. Or you can tweet Brody and his Twitter handle is at ThatBrody, ThatBrody. So as per usual, the last section of the show is going to be dedicated to What's Your Beef. If any of you out there have a beef, I'm sure a lot of you have a beef with me this week, but we will get to that. Or maybe you have a beef with Brody, or just a beef with the world in general. Personally, I want to punch Charles Sarchi and several others in the face, but we will go into that later. 347-884-9061. So as I said, my guest today is Twitter's own Brody Stewart, funny guy, antagonist, and friend to the stars. From Rosie to Chaz to Roseanne to Lisa Lampanelli, they all know Brody, and his celebrity roasts are legendary. I dread him doing one for me. Wait. Oh, right. We said celebrity. Well, I'm on the Z list, for God's sake, and I do get invited to parties. Anyway, enough of my rant. Let's take Brody off mute and bring him into the fold. Hey, Brody, welcome to the show.
Do you know what I noticed while waiting on the line? The music that plays is sort of like gay disco music, and all I kept thinking was how appropriate for Xandermonium.
I wish I could take credit for that, but you don't get a choice in the music that's played in on the wait thing. But I think that's absolutely hilarious. So how's it going with you today, Brody? Is it sunny in Canada today?
No, it's rainy and really shitty outside. I really did at 12 noon.
Wow. We were up and out and went to walk on the beach. It was nice and warm, but the sun has gone in now a little bit, wouldn't you know it? So It's been a very interesting week, Brody, both in the world and on Twitter. And the first thing I want to talk about is the Paula Deen issue, as it's been kind of like, it's been kind of deposing my life for quite some time now. Just to bring people up to speed, it seems that Paula Deen said some things in a lawsuit deposition recently, and that her and her husband are being sued by a former employee who claims that Paula threw around the N-word and that her son sexually harassed her, yada, yada, yada. During the deposition, Deen apparently admitted to using racially charged language and said, yes, of course, and adding, it's just what they are. They're jokes, mostly jokes. There were also other comments about dressing black people as slaves for an event, and she didn't actually do that, but she did talk about that. Now, controversy ensued about whether it was a joke or not. Was she a racist? Is she a racist? And does using racially charged language, racist language, make us a racist? And it was revealed yesterday that the Food Network would not be renewing her contract. Now, before we get on to the ensuing Twitter drama, tell us a bit about, I know you spoke on Jake's show yesterday, tell us a bit about how you feel about this situation.
Well, first, I think that we should cut Paula Deen a little slack for a couple reasons. First, Paula Deen is an older woman. I believe she's in her 70s. And she was born... Maybe I'm wrong. Do you know her correct age?
No, I know she's kind of late. I know she's late 60s. She's not like a young woman per se. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
And she was born in an era in which that was socially acceptable, and also in a time frame where that was acceptable. So she probably, growing up in the South, and especially, in that era, she was, brought up that way. So first, I think we should cut her some slack for that reason. And second, we've all made racist jokes. I make racist jokes like constantly, and I'm an equal rights activist. I don't, I think people get a little too butthurt over the,
I think you're right, and I think a lot of it depends on company. I was sharing with a friend the other day, yesterday actually, an incident from like 25 years ago that really taught me a lesson. I was in London and I was in Brixton, which is a very multicultural area, and I was going to see a friend who happened to be a black guy. And in the building they lived in, I was stopped by these two black guys who were calling me a Batty man, which kind of means, it means you're a homo basically. And they wouldn't let it go. And I said, if I'm a Batty man, then you're the N-word. And my friend happened to hear me say that and said, you really shouldn't respond in that way. And I'm like, why not? They were attacking me. They were saying that I was this, that, and the other. And his explanation was perfect. He said, what about all the other people that are around that happen to be black that hear you say the N-word and are offended by it, but they've not offended you? And it really, really changed my thinking on what terminology I use. Because for me, in my head, it was acceptable that I'd responded in that way.
I would feel a little differently if she had have actually put that, wedding idea into motion and actually, started playing it and everything. But we don't know if she said that as a joke. And, we don't know I know there's no appropriate way to say some of the things that she said, and I think it was stupid of her to say it. But also, it wasn't like she was being racist in public. This is, most of the stuff's based off the testimony of someone who wanted Paula Deen to pay her off to, stop talking, and, Paula Deen didn't. So I wouldn't even trust the lady's testimony that's, accusing Paula Deen of all of this stuff.
I'm in total agreement with that, and I think some people have really got the impression that I'm totally anti-Paula Deen. I'm not. I like her. I think she's a very nice person. I like her show. I just think the unfortunate thing is that when you're in the public eye, people jump on anything that you say that might even be taken slightly out of context. I think really it was. She should not have been fired over this. They should not have took her job away. But I think this was more about them not wanting to lose money than anything else. I don't think it was anything to do with actually what she said. Rachel just said in the chat.
Publicity is good publicity.
Sorry, say that again?
I said any publicity is good publicity.
I think it is, but sometimes negative publicity. You know yourself. I mean, like if a company has wronged a gay person or said stuff about, like I will never buy anything from Chick-fil-A again. So money does talk, but I really don't think that she should have lost her job. We just talked a second ago about joking, and as you know, I sent a tweet out on Friday afternoon. In my Twitter bio, it says I'm a comedian, and like you, Brody, I say lots of funny things when I tweet. And this is what I tweeted. I said, why slave in a hot kitchen? Get Paula Deen's new book, Cooking for Racists in the South Yield, all profits to the United Negro Fund. Now, I think that's absolutely hilarious. But, the shitstorm that ensued from that. I don't think, and then I'm going to go on record as saying this, I don't think that the Paula Deen is racist. I do take issue with people using racially charged language, and what I mean by that is it goes back to this about whether, if you use the N-word, are you racist? And I think that the answer to that is very difficult. As far as I'm concerned, the language is very important because what comes out of your mouth actually speaks volumes about what you actually feel in your heart. And if we are to progress at all, we have to think about the language that we use.
But the more that you make those words taboo, it gives them a stronger meaning. I think if people didn't react the way that they do when people say words like Paula Deen did, then I don't think it would have such a big effect. If people, didn't react like, pussies every time that somebody said something like that, then we wouldn't even be hearing about this right now. It's a word, for Christ's sake.
I totally agree, and as I said, I think a lot of it is because she's in the public eye. Unfortunately, when you are in the public eye and you are in that position, people expect you to be holier than holy and above reproach. And she's human. Let's face it. You gave an example of some things that your grandmother had said. I was talking to my sister-in-law last week, and they were talking about having a Chinese meal. And in the town that they live, the Chinese, the word for a Chinese meal is CHINKY, which is obviously a racist term. But they've grown up with that. What?
I said chinky.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've grown up with that. And in the town that I live, that's the terminology that they use. But if you told them that was racist, or that could come across as being racist, they would not see it in those terms, because it is partly to do with what the intention is and what's behind it.
And really, it's not like Paula Deen was, giving out KKK pamphlets to her listeners, or like being
absolutely
racist. I don't know.
I mean, I was criticized, as you know, over all of this, and I was accused of calling Paula Deen a racist, and so people kind of found examples of what they thought, how they thought that I'd been racist. But my point was, and I never got to put this across, that her language was racist. If you use the N-word, the language is racist. But I'm torn as to whether that actually makes you a racist.
I'd say, I use racial terminology all the time, but it's not because I'm a racist. I usually use it in a way that sort of, takes the racism out of it, or I'm trying to be funny. And I think people just need to have a sense of humor. But none of us know the exact details of the Paula Deen case, so it's, hard for any of us to have judgment. So,
I mean, this all just, sorry, go on, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, as soon as more, details come out about it, then we can, base more opinions, I guess.
I mean, the thing for me about all of this is, I made a joke which most people thought was funny, but then lots of people went on the attack. Now, a 12-hour shitstorm ensued on Twitter, where Marvin and Michelle attacked me and said I was a racist because in a tweet I had used the word Asian.
Yeah. And
in the tweet that I sent out was in response to someone that had spent an hour and a half calling me derogatory terminology for being someone that's overweight. And I wanted to highlight that any discriminatory language is exactly that, discriminatory, whether it's about someone's race, someone's waist size, whatever it's about, the fact that they're gay, it's still discriminatory. It's still discriminatory language, and to do it once or twice is one thing, but continually, it's a concern.
Since you brought it up, I will say, from what I observed, I think the way you should have handled the people that were attacking you over it was just, you shouldn't have responded. You should have just turned the other cheek and said, fuck you to, all of them and just moved on. But I think letting them have it is never a good idea, so.
I totally agree, but
defend yourself when people are calling you a racist. I can understand that.
Absolutely.
As, I
my
do
sister,
too.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I'm done. My
sister said something really funny yesterday, and it really made me laugh, because obviously this has upset me. I've had 3 major relationships in my life. One was with a white guy, one was with a black guy, and one was with a guy from Malaysia. And my sister said to me yesterday something that really just kind of cemented it all for me. She looked at me and laughed and went, racist, your ass is like the United Nations. And it just made me howl with laughter. I'm going to bring Kathy on now to talk a little bit about this Twitter war that ensued. But I just before I bring Kathy on, I just want to point something out. for me, if I have disagreements with particular individuals, they're with those individuals and not with everybody that's part of that group. And anybody that knows me knows that if they're respectful to me, that's what they will get back. So I'm always happy to talk anything through with anybody. All right, let's bring Kathy on. Hi, Kathy. You're live on Xandermonium. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Xander. Hi, Brody.
So you've heard some of this of what's been going on in the past few days. Now all this kind of tornadoed out of control over the past couple of days, and we got back to blocking. I had to block people, and lots of people are not very happy with me because I actually had the audacity to stand up to people that were attacking me and calling me a racist, which I really felt was my right to do. Although I take into account Brody's point, but it's very hard sometimes if you poke someone often enough, they're gonna kind of hit back.
Well, I think Brody's right. When I get irritated with Twitter, I leave for a little while.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I think I was mostly confused because Michelle and Joe are two of the nicest people on Twitter.
I would totally agree with you with Joe, and before this with Michelle, I would have totally agreed with you. I've never had a crossword with her. I've always found her to be most a pleasure to speak to and spend time with.
Not to cut you off or anything, I just wanted to say I didn't follow what was going on that closely because I was often on Twitter. But I have to say I've never, in my opinion, Michelle doesn't have a bad bone in her body, either does Joe. But I didn't follow what was going on, so I can't really comment much on it. But
I have to say the stuff with Joe was actually a misunderstanding, and we cleared that up. I'd asked Joe a few times not to take me out of a thread because I was done with it, and obviously Joe hadn't seen it because the comments that come to you are not actually always in your stream. You sometimes have to look at the interactions page, and I was a bit strong with Joe about the last time I asked her to do it, and I immediately texted her and apologized, and we sorted it out. So Joe is, as far as I'm concerned, Kathy, not a part of this. That was a misunderstanding. But I would agree with you about Michelle. I've always had a pretty good relationship with Michelle.
So don't you think that some of it started out as a misunderstanding and then it got out of control?
I absolutely agree with you, and I tried to explain several times. But then Michelle went through all of my timeline and took out anything that she could misconstrue and retweeted it with commentary, which for me was very attacking. She was insisting that I should apologize for being racist and it would all be forgotten. But why would I apologize for being racist when A, I'm not a racist, and the example that she gave was me illustrating how inappropriate it was to use discriminating language against anybody regardless. I'll be the first one to admit, Kathy, I'm a hothead, and I find it very difficult not to react because I do take things personally. And when it's one person you're dealing with, that's one issue. But when everyone jumps on the bandwagon and is telling you what a fat, ugly piece of shit you are, it really escalates the situation for you. Because we shouldn't take sides in these situations. If there's a disagreement between two people, it's between them. And then when we rabble rouse, not that Michelle got everybody on the bandwagon, but everybody got on the bandwagon and started rabble rousing. It just became this free for all, and it got totally out of hand. But even when I explained my situation, Kathy, it was not good enough for Michelle, unfortunately.
Well, I think too, though, you tried to go low at her, and then nobody was going to say where they went wrong. You put her full name on Twitter. You put her son's name.
Her son.
Yeah.
I don't know who her son is.
Well, you put his name on there.
Well, I guess I must be psychic then, because I didn't even know she had kids. I wasn't blameless in this situation.
I think a line should be drawn somewhere, especially when people are threatening with lawsuits and stuff.
But this is the thing about that, Brody. With regards to the lawsuit issue, when somebody is constantly attacking you for days on end and making defamatory statements about you, what are you left with after you have asked them to
Twitter.
stop? It is Twitter, but unfortunately, I don't think it should be what Twitter is about. If all people use Twitter for is to harass people and attack them, which some of the people in the cult of Jake do, it's a concern. Because there's one thing about having fun, but when it becomes more than that, it gets very personal. And I'm not, Kathy, I have to say, I'm not saying that I'm blameless in this at all. I've overreacted totally with it. And I can't excuse my behavior. I'm human. If you kick me enough, I'm going to punch you in the face. That's just the way I am, and I can't help that. I
understand that, but what I'm saying is, if you were to say, you know what, I was wrong when I did this and said this, and another person said, well, you know what, yeah, and I felt attacked and I shouldn't have done this, and this, then everybody would be a grown-up on Twitter and get over this. But instead, it's, I'm going to sue you, I'm calling the FBI. If the FBI got involved in Twitter...
yeah, there'd be a whole lot of cases.
Yeah.
Wait.
Come on.
Wait. Well, where does the FBI come into it?
I don't know. Somebody told me you said you're going to call the FBI.
That is hilarious. I don't know what the FBI would have to do with it. And several people tweeted Jake and said that I was suing them. The only person I ever said I was going to sue was Michelle because of the fact that she continued to defame me. This is the thing. I'm gay. I do overreact.
And they'd bring the cult of Jake together.
What?
I said maybe you should sue us all because it'd bring the cult of Jake together.
Can you imagine? But you can only sue for things that are actionable, Brody. You can't sue. Well, I think you can sue for hurt feelings as part of a lawsuit, but you can't. I
mean, have you seen Kim Kardashian's Twitter? The things. Imagine if she sued everybody who said something mean to her.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's ridiculous.
And you might see it that way, but I'm just saying to you that was my response, rightly or wrongly. I wanted her to stop, and she wasn't going to stop. And even yesterday, she was accusing me of being anti-Semitic. I mean, I'm a Jew. How can a Jew be anti-Semitic? It's a misnomer. It's a contradiction in terms.
Okay, so I can understand you getting upset and wanting to say that's ridiculous because of this or that. But saying if a lawyer really took a case from Twitter, where would you find a lawyer? Like, I don't even understand it. It's ridiculous.
I actually spoke to someone about it, and what she actually did. There were three things that I could have sued her for: defamation of character, harassment, and also restriction of trade. Because just like Paula Dean has just been fired for comments that she'd made, if people thought I was a racist, it could affect the kind of work that I could get. So there is a deeper element to it. I totally agree with you. I overreacted by saying that I would institute a lawsuit. But I'm human, Kathy, and when people attack me, I respond, and it's not always a good response. And believe me, I am not blameless in this situation. But frankly, neither is Michelle, and no one is prepared to admit that Michelle did any wrong in any of this. Michelle is pure and chaste in the whole situation, and that really is not how it is.
But I don't think that's true. I didn't come on here to say that she did nothing wrong or she didn't say anything that hurt you or that she shouldn't have said.
I don't mean you, Kathy. I'm not suggesting you did, or even Brody. But the general consensus is that Michelle was absolutely right to do what she did, to harass me for days on end with tweets accusing me of being a racist. I hold my hand up, Kathy. I reacted badly, but it's very difficult to remain politically correct and not kind of bring out the big guns when people attack you. I'm a human being. I fail. I'm not perfect. I'm sorry to alert you to this, listeners, but I'm not perfect. I am a human being. I do have things that are going on in my life that affect the way that I react to things and situations. But I'm dealing with that, and I can only do so much. But when people continue to attack you, it's very difficult to remain objective. Hello?
Brody?
Oh, well, like I said before, I wish I had followed it a little more closely, and I know there was tweets being deleted and everything, so it was really hard to follow what was going on. But I think
this from the queen of deleting tweets, but go on. Brody never deletes, Kathy, ever.
No, I do, but that does make it hard to follow, what's going on, especially when there's lawsuit threats going around. So I think that's why I tried to remain neutral in it, and I just kind of, let everyone go at it while I just sat and watched.
I know.
I think next time you should just block them, say F you and block them, and not bring in a lawsuit and whatever, the popo or whatever else you want to bring. And
the popo, it was the FBI before. That part of it makes me laugh. Kathy, I have to agree with you. But also I have to say, in this, that everyone needs to learn from this. And the people in the cult of Jake that have been so woefully and destructively aggressive to me, saying that I should go suck my mother's tits and that they hope my mother dies. And it's like being back at school. It really is. It's pathetic. And this kind of pack mentality.
That's the fun of Twitter, Xander. To me, that's the whole point of Twitter, is to go on and tell someone to go suck their mother's tits. But
Brody, for one person to do it, it's fine. But when lots of people do it, it's an attack mentality. Don't you see? Do you see what I'm saying? It's pack mentality, and to attack people in that way is not acceptable.
But you've done
it too, Xander. When we've done it to other people who are jerks.
I have, and I was just as bad, Kathy. But that's not. But what I'm saying is that if we're doing it to our own, what the hell is the point? Look at how many people have been kicked out of the cult of Jake and been made to feel bad. Carly, for instance, whether
she's the only one we kicked out.
Carly,
that's it.
What?
She's the only one we ever kicked out.
What
about Carly?
About Faith?
Well, I don't think we really kicked her out. She wanted out after she called Jen horrible names.
Hey, I'm not excusing that. That was terrible. I was the first one there telling her to go fuck herself after she treated Jen.
Xander, you know the cult is crazy. You know we're all crazy. You know that this is what we do, and then we get over it. That's just how we are. And you are a part of it. It's a good time.
It might be how we are, but it's still it's okay, Kathy, till you're on the receiving end of it. And we forget, Brody's been on the receiving end of it, so have I. I don't know if you have, Kathy, because you kind of seem to hold your own quite well. But when you're on the receiving end of it, it's quite...
I don't, blame anybody when I was on the receiving end of it, because everybody knows that I can be a fucking asshole. And I take pride in that. I'm glad. So, when I'm on the receiving end of it, it's usually it's always usually been for a valid reason, in my opinion.
Right. Well, in this case, I'm quite prepared to hold my hands up and say that I've reacted, but none of this excuses the things that other people did in this situation. And Kathy, more than anyone, I want to move on and get over this. But when there's some new accusation every day, it makes it very hard to move on. My mother actually called me this morning, which I thought was funny. One of her friends who follows me on Twitter called to ask if I knew that people were saying that I was anti-Semitic, and how could I be anti-Semitic if I was Jewish? I mean, the ramifications of it are just ridiculous, you know.
Your mom is on Twitter?
What?
Your mom is on Twitter?
No, one of my mom's friends follows me on Twitter.
Oh.
But that's the thing. That's why I block anybody I know personally from Twitter. It's a great remedy for that problem.
But most of my friends and stuff are on Facebook. Most of the people on Twitter are kind of followers, fans, people who like the show, etc. Hey, Kathy, I'm going to draw this to a close now because I want to talk about some other stuff. I don't want to do this for the whole show, but I just want to go publicly saying, you know, this is the thing. I'm not racist, and I'm sorry if anyone has interpreted anything that I've said as being racist. I'd far rather sleep with a black guy or an Asian guy than a white guy. But, you know, getting calls now saying I'm discriminating against white people. Yes, I behaved badly. Yes, I overreacted. But I doubt whether you're going to hear that from anybody else's lips about this situation.
Okay,
I will accept that.
Thanks for calling, Kathy.
Thanks for calling, Kathy. I love you, and be assured that anytime I have a disagreement with anybody else, it doesn't affect us, and we will always be besties. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Brody, let's move on and talk about something else. I want to talk about Kim Kardashian and the baby name business. Are you up on that? Kim Kardashian had a baby, and Kanye West. And they.
Okay, go on. Oh, nothing.
No, I was just gonna say they finally stopped calling the baby Kimye, and there's a toss-up between whether the baby is called Aiden Xander or Northwest. I mean, what a catastrophe.
Well, I read a really funny tweet by Andy Lassner this week, and it said, the good thing about them naming their daughter Northwest is that her hooker name's already picked out for her.
I think that's hilarious. I think the baby should be called, what did I say I thought the baby should be called? Couldn't give a damn, but with a K, you know, rather than a C.
But do you know what annoys me about that whole thing? Is that I was reading like an article and it said they wanted to have the baby in Europe because of privacy issues. To me, she shouldn't be given an ounce of privacy considering she got famous from fucking a black guy and purposely releasing the sex tape. So I don't think she should be given any privacy, especially keeping in mind the way she became famous and what she does for a living. She's on a reality television show where she exploits every ounce of her personal life. So I don't think she should be given any publicity, and I think, I hope the paparazzi smother her to death.
I think oh, wow, that's sorry, just 1 second. Jake is in the chat room, allegedly, and wants to know if I'm reading the chat. Yes, I am reading it, Jake. I'm seeing everything you're saying. And if I'm a pussy, that makes you a fucking super pussy, dude. So back to the matter at hand with reference to the baby name. I think it's ridiculous. Why would you give a kid that legacy of being called North?
Yeah. Why would the kid even want the legacy of being Kim or Kanye's kid is my question. Yeah,
absolutely. Jake is asking me in the chat room why I won't just apologize to Michelle already. I will apologize to Michelle when she apologizes to me and takes down all the negative things from her wall. Thanks for your thanks for your impetus, Jake, and thanks for remaining impartial as usual.
Don't even. I just have a piece of advice. When I do my show, I don't even look at the chat, and I suggest you don't either, because who really gives a shit?
I do, but I'm just going to ignore Jake now. In fact, shall I just kick him out of the chat room?
I don't care what you do. I'm just saying it's not. If I were you, I wouldn't be reading what's going on in the chat.
I just kicked him out of the chat room. I took back the power. Now, have you heard about this? I think this is a bit alarming. Now, have you heard of the singer Kesha? She's fascinated by urine drinking. Yes, Kesha drinks her own urine on camera for an MTV reality series, My Crazy Beautiful Life. And she doesn't get why everyone's so obsessed about it. What the hell are people drinking urine for? There was this thing in the newspapers in the 90s that urine was sterile and it was okay to drink. But surely it's disgusting, isn't it?
I'm just glad she's taking a break from drinking vodka because we all know she's an alcoholic.
Well, maybe that's a part of it. Maybe she thinks that some of the alcohol will filter through into the pee process, and she'll be able to get double dibs on him. Wow.
What?
Nothing. Never mind.
You're reading the chat again, aren't you?
Yes. I can't understand why people would want to drink their own urine. I mean, I said to Kesha, I said, how easy is it to do that? She said, oh, Xander, it's a piece of piss. So a story that really interested me is that I heard this when I was driving in the city last night. I don't know if you know that, but in the Middle East, including Yemen, there is a death penalty for anyone that is openly gay. And despite all the oppression, one young Yemeni man has declared his homosexuality publicly in a blog, and he spoke to a BBC Arabic reporter recently about the reaction he received and his fears for his safety. Now, this young guy, Ala Jarban, is actually in Canada at the moment, and I think he's going to seek exile there.
Where is he from again?
Let me think. Fine.
Where is he from?
He's from Yemen.
Everyone in Yemen has AIDS.
That's a sweeping generalization, Brody. I think the concern is, what it made me think is, what if in Canada or America, what if they said it was illegal to be gay? This is a fundamental right to be who you want to be, or who you are. Because personally, I don't think it's something you get a choice in. But this guy,
I still don't think it's socially acceptable, even in the United States or Canada. I know it's a lot more acceptable than it was 50 years ago, but I still don't think we're even half the way that we should be by now.
Right.
I know it's a lot worse in places like Yemen where they're killing people because of it, but I still think, especially where you're from in the United States, there's only a handful of the states that have even legalized gay marriage, so I think they still have a long way to go, especially in the United States.
I do, but although they haven't legalized gay marriage, and although the gay people's rights are severely affected in this country, we're not faced with the hurdle of whether or not we can be openly gay for fear of being killed. This just grabbed me because it just sickens me that people have to live like this. It really does.
Yeah.
It's a sad state of affairs, really.
I agree.
And if anybody wants to support this guy, there are petitions and stuff that people can sign. But I think the best way to to deal with countries that don't have equal rights is to stop trading with them and stop giving them aid.
No, but I bet if Yemen had oil, I bet America would be the first ones in there protecting their equal rights.
Believe me, I bet if Syria had oil, America would have been in there and sorted them out by now. It's only because Syria doesn't have anything to rob or exploit that America has not gone in to help them. I mean, is it coincidence that in Iraq, Afghanistan, and where's the other place they went into? Where was it? Iraq, Afghanistan. You can't think.
Everywhere.
Was it Libya?
Really.
Yeah, it surely it's not coincidental that they have oil or stuff to exploit.
Trust me, when it benefits the government, they'll definitely be in one of those countries, protecting their equal rights. And I'm quoting equal rights with my fingers right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lucy was going to call in. Lucy, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Lucy Boyer. Boyer. If you're there, Lucy, give us a call. 347-884-9061. Because we're going to talk a little bit about this case of a Florida judge has ruled that a guy that's diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic, and he believes he's the Prince of God. I thought, first of all, is this Jake Pentland, but he lives in L.A., not Florida, is convinced that he will be resurrected to sit for eternity at God's right hand and is sane and can be put to death next week. Now, this judge, David Glant, who's with Florida's 8th Circuit, has found this guy, John Ferguson, 64, can be given a lethal injection on Thursday, despite a U.S. Supreme Court injunction that prohibits executions of the insane. And in his concluding remarks, he said he agrees with the prisoner's defense lawyers that Ferguson is a paranoid schizophrenic who believes he is the Prince of God. I mean, what the frick is all this about? I mean, why are they going against the Supreme Court ruling in order to execute someone with mental illness?
Well, first, I think anybody with that disorder, and it sounds to me that it's quite severe in his case, I think that they are sometimes a danger to society. And if they're not going to, give him the lethal injection, then I think he should certainly be, locked up in some institution somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not saying they should give him the keys to the city. No way. If he's committed a crime, he needs to be punished. But if he is genuinely mentally ill, and there is a federal requirement not to execute people with mental illness, surely they should be given that. Whatever the word is, they should not be killed if that's what the law says.
No, I don't think they should be killed. But and I'm just bringing this up for argument's sake. He obviously is probably a drain on the country's economy in that he cannot work.
Right.
So he really serves no purpose, don't you think?
I agree he serves no purpose,
I have a side note with that, Xander. I would like to be, I'd like to be put down by the government or by anybody.
You
really.
would?
Yeah. Well, if I'm unfunctionable and I'm a drain on everybody around me, then I certainly wouldn't want to be living.
But surely a sick mind doesn't know that it's sick, and that's part of the problem. If you are, what was it that he was diagnosed with? Where are we? If you are a paranoid schizophrenic, do you actually know that you're sick? Do you know that you have paranoid schizophrenia? Because to you, these things are obviously real.
Yeah. That's why I'm going on record to say if I'm ever diagnosed, please put me down. Come sit on me, Xander. That would be sure to kill me.
Thanks for that, Brody. You heard that, folks. Brody's given me permission to kill him if necessary. Do I get a choice in the reason why, or the method, or can I just come kill you?
I said, well, probably the easiest way for you to kill anybody would be to sit on them, but but no, I'm only saying that if I'm ever diagnosed with any, mental illness that makes me unfunctionable.
Right. Okay. We will add that to the record. Rachel Danger is in chat and wants me to ask you about your upcoming interview.
Oh, yes. Well, this Wednesday I will be interviewing Kelly Osbourne, that many of you may remember from the hit reality show The Osbournes. And right now she's on Fashion Police, and she also does the red carpet interviews for the Oscars, the Golden Globes, and all of that stuff.
Brilliant.
I'm going to be interviewing her this Wednesday, but it's going to air the following Thursday. So
right.
Yeah, so you guys will be able to hear it. I'm publishing it on my website because, unlike you, Xander, I am not comfortable giving Blog Talk Radio any of my shows that people might listen to. So all the traffic can go to my website, and Blog Talk Radio can go screw themselves.
So you're actually they're actually gonna go to Blog Talk Radio via your website.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I download my show, like I record it on Blog Talk Radio, but I download it onto my computer and then I upload it onto my website. So really, I'm still using their service, but they're just not getting any of the traffic for the interview.
Right. Yeah, it's great. It's a great way to do. It's a great way to do pre-records. It really is.
Yeah.
So there you go, Rachel. That's a bit of the dish on Brody's upcoming show. I want to talk a minute about this classification. They've just classified obesity as a disease with the AMA, American Medical Association. David Kessler is the former commissioner of the FDA and author of the book The End of Overeating. I wonder if part of classifying obesity as a disease is to sell more copies of his book. But he spoke to Celeste Headley this week about his decision and how it could impact America's overeating epidemic. What do you think about that, Brody?
So, okay, can you just rephrase? Sorry, I was reading something as you said that. Could you just quickly rephrase that?
Obesity has been classified as a disease from the American Medical Association.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
The person who's the head of the American Medical Association, the commissioner for the FDA, is the author of a book, The End of Overeating. I'm saying, do you think there's any correlation between this decision and the fact that he's selling a book about overeating?
Well, first, I personally don't believe that it should be classified as a disease because to me, obesity isn't a disease because everybody has the choice to make that a difference. Like if you're obese, if you weigh 500 pounds, you can eventually lose all that weight and you'll be fine again. It's not like you have some mental illness that's uncurable. It's not like you have a terminal cancer. I think it should certainly not be classified as, a disease. And it being classified as a disease, that's just going to lead to people wanting, money from the government, and it's just going to, spiral like that until, everybody's obese and everybody wants money and nobody wants to work because everybody's fat on their couches and, can't move because they're so fat.
I can't disagree with that. That's an absolutely wonderful analogy. I heard one person say yesterday, and this person has been on state benefits for 12 years for PTSD, that they were concerned that fat people would be getting more sickness money. I mean, I shake my head. Get a job, you lazy fucker. I'm sure he sits on his ass all day harassing people on social media. Why we, the taxpayers, pay for the privilege. But I think everybody able. What?
Who are you referring to?
I'm not going to name names. You know who I mean. The general thing is, I'm overweight. I work.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's going to, I know, but there are people that will abuse it, just like people abuse, every form of government assistance that they're given. It's always abused, like the welfare system. And everything. So, and I just don't want this also to become a part of that. And they wonder why the government's broke. It's because they're giving out money to people that don't, deserve it. And something I was thinking also, like, I remember they did this during, I remember studying this in class, they did it during one of the wars. I think the people that are on welfare and that claim they can't find work should be given something to do that,
I do. Judge Judy put it really perfectly for me. That she said if people who are not working should get out there and collect cans. Do what you got to do to survive.
They really. I just think if they're going to be given government assistance, then I think they should be working for it in some way. And I don't care. There's something anybody can do. I don't care what disorder you have. I don't care if you're a paraplegic. You can do something in your house. Like, I feel like people abuse it too often. And also, I was thinking about this, too, as the summer's approaching and, school's out and everything. Teachers sit on their asses during the entire summer. I think they should also, they're government employees, I think they should also be doing something, instead of having their whole summer off.
Right. Yeah, I don't disagree. One thing that I think is a really good point, and people have said this in the UK as well, why should people be draining the system that have not put money into it? This is a fundamental thing. If you don't put money into a system, why should you be able to take from it? It's really not acceptable. It really isn't. And I know there are some people out there who can't work, who can't physically work, and
I think if they if the government just stopped giving social assistance to the people that are abusing it or anybody at all, they would have to find work or they would die. And if they died, I don't think that would be such a bad thing. Honestly, I think the country would prosper because then only hardworking people would be, earning money. And I think. Wait, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, isn't that the way it should be? I mean, in the UK, there's a Conservative government there now, which is like equivalent to the Republican Party, and they've just instituted all these changes to get all the layabouts off benefits and into work that can, because the system has just become so abused. Yeah. Sorry, Brody, I have to interrupt. I just had a couple of messages saying that Michelle wants to call in and talk. If you want to call in, Michelle, the number is 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Apparently she's apologized or wants to apologize. I'm all for moving forward. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
someone said,
I just think.
Go on. Sorry, Brody, I interrupted you. Go on.
Oh, if we moved on past the story?
Past the what?
Are we still talking about the government assistance thing? Well, never mind. I don't have anything to add. Oh, well, I was just going to say, I think it's starting to get more and more abused in both. It's really bad here in Canada. I don't know about the United States, but it's horrible here, and especially where I live. It's insane, actually.
I think that all the countries have to tighten up. We're in the midst of an economic decline, and if the way that we crawl it back is to stop giving money to people that are undeserving, then that's the way. That's the way it has to be. Someone just pointed out in chat, said, still stuck on lethal injection. I'm paranoid schizophrenic. They want to know, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, Brody. So do we put all those individuals down who are drained on the government? Are you asking that to me or Brody or both of us?
Well, honestly, what I think, it's difficult for me because I'm sure my opinions would be much, much, much different if A, I was, suffering from one of these disorders, or B, I had a loved one that was suffering from these disorders, but I don't. So I honestly think I honestly don't know. I'm torn, to be honest, because they're probably great people if you can see past, the disorders they have, but I don't know if they should be, killed per se.
I'm really kind of torn on this too. I used to work in mental health when I lived in London, and it was to begin. What?
Weren't you a patient?
No, I wasn't a patient, but I have had counseling in the past. I have suffered with depression, but at that point I was actually working as a mental health professional, and not with people that were kind of this was kind of a community-based thing. I'm basically I feel that I feel that people with mental health need to be given every opportunity to get the help that they need. And to know, taxidermy or whoever you are, I don't feel that all individuals with any kind of mental illness need to be put down because they're a drain on the government. I don't feel that at all.
Xander, it's
what?
Odd at all. I find it odd that there's all these, different names in the chat room today.
Yes, I do too. It's probably someone we know, but that's fine too. All right, time is pushing on, Brody. Let's just do one more topic, and then let's play this new game that I've got for you. Okay. So I don't know if you heard about this news item this week, but basically Nigella Lawson, who is a TV chef, was out in London and was being strangled by her husband. Hey, it's not funny, dude. Nobody did anything about it. Everybody just walked by.
No,
Why
I'm
do
laughing.
You think
I'm laughing because I remember I seen it trending, and for some reason I clicked on an odd trend, and it brought me to that page, and all I seen was like a magazine cover or a photo, I think it was by TMZ, of this Nigella, I think her name's, she was up against a wall in her face. She looked like Casper, and there was some fat, old, ugly guy, choking the crap out of her.
Yeah. He's married to this guy called Charles Saatchi, who's from the Saatchi family. And basically, he allegedly he has a history of violence because none of us can actually know. But he strangled her in public. I mean, my point is, why the fuck would you sit there and say nothing about a man strangling a woman? If I was in a cafe, and someone was strangling a woman, and yes, before you say it, I would make sure no one took my food away, but I would definitely have to say something. Because violence against anybody is not acceptable. But for this big hulking man to attack a woman in public in broad daylight and for nothing to be done about it is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. We need to have a level of accountability, and this guy pushed it too far, I think.
Yeah.
I really do. Okay, Brody, we're going to have a short show today. Let's play this new game now. This game is called Celebrity Word Association. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a list of names, and we're going to do this at the last item, and I'm going to ask you to tell me the very first word that comes into your head.
Okay.
Okay, very simple. So you ready for this?
Yep.
Okay, let's begin. Paula Dean.
Fat.
Justin Bieber.
Gay.
Bill Clinton.
Blue dress. Semen stains.
Kim Kardashian.
A fat ass.
Jiffy Wild.
Good looking.
Eli Rotsky.
Pass.
You know who that is?
Yes, I know who that is.
Okay. Perez Hilton.
Scum.
James Gandolfini.
Dead as a net.
Roseanne Barr.
Fat again. Sorry, I used that one twice.
Yeah, you can't use it twice. No, I'm just joking. Chris Brown.
Woman beater.
Joy Behar.
Old. Fire crotch.
Lost my place. Amanda Bynes.
Psychotic.
One Direction.
I think I'll have to use gay again.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Funny.
Sarah Palin.
Redneck.
Xander Gibb.
Am I only allowed to use one word?
You can say the first thing that jumps into your head as long as it's not a paragraph.
I'm trying to think of something for you. Entertaining.
Thank you. That was very diplomatic of you. Lindsay Lohan.
Crack whore.
Jake Pentland.
Crazy.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Dyke.
Michael Jackson.
Homosexual.
Taylor
pedophile.
Swift.
Pedophile. I switch. It's pedophile.
All right. Taylor Swift.
Talented.
Paris Hilton.
Bimbo.
Kim Jong-un.
Chubby bastard.
Jay Leno.
Oh crap! I shouldn't have wasted chubby bastard on Kim Jong Un because he would
use it twice. I'll let you, as it's nearly the end of the show.
Wait, what about the Wait, is the game done?
I have a couple more for you.
Okay.
Chelsea Handler.
Funny.
Dennis Rodman.
I don't know who he is. All I know about him is that he was at a basketball game with Kim Jong Un. I'm probably saying that wrong too.
Right. Two more for you. Donald Trump.
Disgusting Republican.
Jodi Arias.
Jake's lover.
That concludes Celebrity Word Association. Thanks, Brody.
I feel like
that was very interesting.
Sorry,
I just want to.
That.
What?
I felt like I was kind of boring. I didn't use very descriptive words. I was just using whatever came to mind first.
You weren't kind of bitchy as bitchy as I expected. Do you want to have a quick go at the other end? Do you want to have a quick go and I'll give you a chance to ask me some.
Okay, sure. But okay, but I'm just I'll think of 10 the top 10 that come to my mind first. Okay.
All right.
David Letterman.
Old.
Howard Stern.
Big nose.
Racist. Oprah.
Yale.
Fuck, I can't. I'm so stupid. I don't want to use the same ones that you. Pink.
Talented.
Madonna.
Lucky.
O.J. Simpson.
Guilty.
Two more. I need to think of two more. Conan O'Brien.
Ginger.
Zach Heltzell.
Go on, you got one more.
Who, me or you? Okay, I need to think of one more. Four-eyed queef.
Funny as fuck. I have to just tell you, Brody, Jake just tweeted to you and said, called me crazy. What next? What's next? Xander Gibb calling me overreacting. So clearly Jake is listening into the show. He also
good
said, what?
I said good for him. I hope he enjoyed it.
Yep, I'm sure he's listening. Well, we're coming to the end of the show, Brody. I know you have to go, but I'm going to do the last 10 minutes of What's Your Beef. Do you want to stay, or you got to go?
Sure, I'll stay.
Okay. So I really enjoyed that, Brody. That was really funny. We should do that again. I saw someone else doing it, but I thought that most people were a bit reserved with their responses rather than saying what they really felt, which I think is the key to the game. Okay, so this is the last 10 minutes of the show. It's called What's Your Beef? Call in and tell us who's pissed you off this week, what you're not happy about. It's your 10 minutes to really get on your soapbox and have your say. Feel free to call us 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. I see Eric is in the chat room. Hi, Eric. How are you today? Hope you're feeling better.
I think everybody got their beef out when Kathy called in.
I think you're probably right, but I think there are people that are outside the cult that maybe would want the opportunity. You know the worst thing about doing this show? It's like really freaking hot here, and if I put the AC on, the AC is in the big room where I do the show, and if I put the AC on, you can't hear anything else. So it's like really freaking hot here. So anything you want to share, Brody? If you let me know next week when your show is going to be on, I will definitely plug it for you. And that's going to be a good interview. I really like Kelly Osbourne. Do you remember when she released the song Papa Don't Preach?
No, I don't remember exactly when she released it, but in doing research, I did. I heard her talking about it in an interview, and it was really good. But for anybody wondering, like I said when Rachel asked, just check out my website, brodystewart.com, this coming Thursday afternoon, and it will be posted then.
Absolutely. So I don't know if anyone's going to call in. I'm just going to give one more shout out. Call us 347-884-9061. Eric is in the chat room saying he missed everything. Don't worry, it's all recorded, Eric. You can listen back to it at your leisure, as it were. Okay, well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to draw it to a close. I'm just going to do some post-ramble, but thank you so much, Brody, for joining us today. It's been great to have you. Don't forget to check out The Brody Show, people. Make sure you get your asses along to that and show your support to Brody. Thanks for being on the show, Brody. Thanks for being a good support and being a good friend, and I hope you'll come join us again very soon.
Oh, I definitely will, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot, Brody. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was another episode of Xandermonium. I really want to close in saying a couple of things. I have never professed to be perfect. I've never professed to get everything right all of the time. Like most people, I'm human, and when my back is against the wall, I hit out and I attack. And I can be cruel too, and I'm only ever cruel when people are cruel to me. That's not an excuse. That's just me. I'm human. When I'm attacked, I attack back. You show me teeth, and I'll show you mine. And I think the unfortunate thing is that in the Twitter world, what we end up tending to do is taking sides. And in that, we can often hurt people that we really care about. There are three sides to every story, and I'm going to leave you with this thought. There's my version of events, there's your version of events, and there's what actually happened. And it's very difficult to pin down an exact version of events. But I want to make two things clear to you today. Firstly, I'm not racist, and I take great care to not come across in that way because it's something that abhors me. I live my life in a way where I try and promote equality for everybody, and I don't always get it right. I don't like fighting with people. I do feel I've been very attacked this week, and I think I've been attacked unnecessarily. And I think that a lot of encouragement was given to the person that attacked me, and I have every respect for this person, and I've never had any reason to say anything but nice things about them. And if I can accept that I, as a person, can make mistakes, then I think other people should be able to do the same. Thank you to everybody for listening today. Thank you to everyone in chat. Thank you to Rachel, to Kathy, to Natalie, to Taxiderma, whoever you are, to Eric. Thanks to Brody for joining in. Thanks for Jake for joining the chat, and I know you're listening. I'm sorry I kicked you out of chat, but I found it to be a little bit distracting today. All right, well, listen, thank you all very much. Have a great week, and just remember, no one's perfect, not even you, Jake Penland. I love you all. Thanks a lot.
To change